Good morning and welcome to healthierlife.tv. My name's Paul Bursey and I'm from the UK. With me is...
Good morning, everybody. Warren Conolly here, coming to you from Hungary.
Great.
Hungary. Good morning, everyone.
Anyway, 7 ways to rejuvenate healthy change in your life. And we don't know how this is going to go today. So let's move on. Anyway, look, the day-to-day choices you make influence whether you maintain vitality as you age.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can develop life-shortening illnesses and disabling conditions. All right. So, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, strokes, and etc. So, what about choices? Do you think people make good choices?
In general, no.
Okay.
I
do most of the time.
But I do believe that people want to make the right choices.
Why do you think they don't then?
I think part and parcel of that is knowledge, desperation, in terms of they feel desperate in what they're wanting to achieve, so that they get flustered and confused about what it is that they need to do. There's a lot of information out there that is conflicting. So I think it's just life pressures as well. People want to make the right choices, but they just never get around to it.
Yeah. Well, look, as an individual, you may understand exactly what you need to do to enjoy a healthier, happier life. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's you need to carve out some time for a little bit of exercise. Okay. And I'm going to have to start doing that again now. Or it could be just to find a way to reduce stress. Again, it's very, very important. But there's just one challenge, and that is you haven't done it yet. Why haven't you done it? It does surprise me, I've got to say. And I know we're all individuals and that, but often the biggest hurdle or problem or challenge is inactivity. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's lethargy. Sometimes it's just plain old inertia. You just can't get going. Stagnation's another thing as well. So I've seen lots of people where they get, so the Americans call it in a funk.
Yeah. They get in a funk.
Yeah. It's just a little coughing or things that they
just as the British say, you've lost your mojo.
Yeah, that's right. Look, we know it's not easy to change ingrained habits and behaviours, but you got to start somewhere, okay? And but let's think of walking instead of driving. Let's think of eating a bit of fruit instead of the cake. Mm-hmm. Now, I've got to say, I do all 4 of those.
Or even bread.
Yeah, whatever. It's I don't know. Look, we want you to gradually change, if you want to, of course. And at least that will improve your odds of success at whatever it is you want to do. Now, obviously, this is healthierlife.tv, so most of it's going to be about health, but you can relate this to anything at all, So we're going to talk through a few strategies here. I don't know about specifics, but we'll see how we go and see if it makes sense to you. So, okay. So 7 steps, basically, to getting it moving, as it were. So what would you think the first one is, Warren?
Moving. That's
moving. It. Select a goal.
Taking action.
Yeah. Selecting a goal. Now, and obviously you've got to choose a goal that best fits you. Now, it may not be the first goal that you should choose, but look, you want to succeed if you set a few priorities and something that compels you to do something. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's keep it simple. What can we come up with? Now, I've been sedentary or very immovable for a month. Okay, and because I've not been exactly well. So, what would you suggest to me to do?
Just get out and get some fresh air and go for a walk. Just get out there and get into nature as best that you can. That's for me. It's the simplest and easiest way for somebody to get started.
Okay.
If you have a dog, take your dog for a walk at least once a day. Yeah,
Or have the dog take you for a walk.
Or have the dog take you for a walk. Yeah, like I see many people. You see these people that buy big dogs and then they can't control them. That's funny.
Okay, so let's just give a few examples. So select a goal. We'll say I'm going to go and walk a mile with the dog. Okay, do you think it's a good start?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say a mile, because sometimes a mile would somebody would think, oh, I'm going to go walk a mile. You're crazy. But then if you say to yourself, I'm going to walk around the community or around the block, you're probably end up going to be walking about a mile. But it's not as, the thought of it is not as daunting. So if you just say, look, I'm going to take the dog out for a walk and see how far I get, that's perfect. That's first step one. That's done.
So physically, just literally getting out the door and having a walk.
Yes, yeah, and that's building momentum. Yeah, that's the easiest way to build momentum. But it's because it's the same like with most of many of us. We have big goals, and then we become overwhelmed by the idea of trying to achieve that goal. So we pull back on ourselves, and we create small little goals that we know we can get to.
Yeah.
You know? But in this case, that's what you want. I believe that's what you want to do. You want to just
small little wins.
Yes, small little wins.
So if I was to ask myself a big question about fitness, would the question be something like, why am I doing this?
That's a good question to ask yourself. It's a very empowering question, right? And it's without sounding overused or cheesy or anything like that. You want to know what your why is. It's simple. It doesn't have to be thought of as a catchphrase, or I'm trying to think of a way to term it, but it is what it is. You want to have a why.
Yeah.
Without a why, anything in life is never going to be sustainable.
Simple. And that's pick your choice for change, which really is, and also select a choice where it's a sure bet. In other words, it's only going to be a short walk, so it's going to benefit you, whether it be from the vitamin D you get from the sun, or just literally the capacity for your breathing.
Even if it's just to get off your ass and instead of watching the news at 6 o'clock, that's your why.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got it's got to be a why that means something to you personally, to the individual. So, okay,
not to your wife or your husband or the kids, but to you.
Yeah. So if that change fits into your life, great, and then you can focus on the next change, albeit a little increment, a little bit of an increase, And so, what about? I know we talk about commitment, and commitment can sound like quite a big word, actually. But it's literally just selecting something to do, and then keep being consistent, committing yourself to a little bit, and say, look, I'm going to walk every day. And you don't have to go berserk, because I'm sure that if you start, you'll enjoy it. So, but could you say I'm making a commitment to my health by planning to take a mindful walk? Maybe 2 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever it is you want.
Yeah, it all starts off in the head, right? So it's going to start off in the head, the thought. I have the thought. I want to take a walk 3 days a week, or take the dog for a good walk, or myself just go for a walk 3 days a week. That's the thought. Then once you've made the decision to do that, you've created the commitment. You say, okay, I'm going to do this now, and you plan it. Don't just leave it whimsically. Just plan it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to go for a walk at 6 o'clock at night, in the evening, whatever. And you do that, then you've made a commitment to yourself. Then it's up to you as to how much do you value your own word. And if you write it down and you make a commitment that way, and it could be in your diary, it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be like, you write a blog post or something like that and announce it to the world. But if you just write it down and you sign your name to that, how good is your word? Pure and simple. How good is your word? And if your word means something to you, then you're going to do it, right? So that's the commitment. Then the action is going to be secondary to that. The action is going to be it's part and parcel of that commitment. Once you've taken action a couple of times, now you're creating a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is that we all want to sleep better. We all want to feel better. We want better moods, and we can get into it very easily and just increase it as and when we want. And I think that's important, because a lot of people get the word exercise becomes this big mental monster, doesn't it? That suddenly takes over, and you think, oh my God, I've got to do this and got to do it. You haven't got to do anything. Do something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be walking even. There's loads of things you can do. I mean, it's just, we're just using that as an easy explanation.
And you haven't got to do anything either. You don't have to change your health.
No, you don't have to.
No.
Advisable, maybe, but...
Yeah, so if you're thinking like, I've got to do this, well, then you're setting yourself up for defeat already.
Yeah,
because you don't have to, got to nothing. The only thing you've got to do is to breathe in order to stay alive. Because beyond that, and that comes automatically, you don't even have to think about the breathing, unless of course it's taken away from you.
Yeah.
See, this is the caveat, isn't it? We wait until something gets taken away from us, like our health, before we decide to make it, to take action on it. So rather than wait for your health to be taken away from you, take action on it. But you don't got to do nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. And, you've got to scout out some easy obstacles to take on, so they don't become just another pain in your life. I mean, and it's a classic example. When I was thinking about doing meditating, I was concerned, because when I was introduced to it, it was a 45-minute thing. And I thought, well, I don't know if I've got 45 minutes. So I started looking on YouTube, and I actually found some really good guided meditation that took 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
And I got used to that, and I thought, do you know what? I like that. I'm going to do a bit more. So I got up to about 20 minutes, and but I still go back to 3 minutes, depending on what I'm doing that particular day. And same with gratitude as well. I've got another one there that I've got for 3 minutes, and the two of them together make 6 minutes, and that's fine. It sets me up for the day. Doesn't take a lot of time. Doesn't encroach on anything. Doesn't stop me doing anything else. And I feel so much better for it.
Sure you do, yeah.
But because the other thing you do is brainstorm. You can talk to other people and see what they do.
Yeah.
And see if there's something there that you like that they're doing.
Yeah. And if you can't talk to people directly, use social media. Go to social media, ask people questions on there. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. So, okay. So let's assume that I set my goal to walk, let's say a mile. I said a mile, so I'll keep it there. Let's say walk a mile for 14 days on the trot. Should I plan a simple reward once I complete those 14 days?
No, why not?
What would you suggest?
A whole cake.
Oh, that's easy.
A day of rest.
Eating cake is no problem for
me. Again, look, whatever's preferential or whatever's relevant to you, but do reward yourself. That's a very powerful point, that because we are programmed to want to be rewarded for when we do things that are good, right?
Yeah.
And even sometimes when people do things that we don't look at as being good, they are looking for a reward, because at the end of the day, and significance and recognition for it, because in their mind, they're doing something good, right? We may not see it as being good, but other people. But the point of the example is that we are conditioned to be rewarded, to want to be rewarded. So reward yourself by all means. Don't feel good about it afterwards. Just enjoy it. Last weekend, something I very seldom do is go to a restaurant and spoil myself at a restaurant. If I go to a restaurant, I'm normally I manage my expectations at a restaurant. But last weekend, I went to go meet with a friend and his daughter, and we went to a restaurant. We had a couple of beers. I had pork ribs, which is not, again, it's not something I will do very often, but I did it because I wanted to reward myself for something that I had achieved, so personally. So whatever, it's important to do that. It really is. It boosts your self-esteem as well. You feel good about yourself. I'm rewarding myself for something that I've done. So do that, yeah.
So, okay, so going back to my little walk. So let's say I set myself a goal of a 10-minute walk, let's say. Rather than a 10-minute walk sounds a little bit easier on the mind rather than a mile.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, believe me, I can walk 25 miles, but that's not the point. We haven't got time to do that every day. So we've got to do something a little bit more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you prepare for it? Maybe make sure you got a nice pair of comfortable shoes. Maybe so that it's not going to be a problem for you,
Yeah. And this is, again, some people will just, I've had this with clients. They start working out with me and training with me, and we're doing it. And then I look at their shoes and I think, when was the last time you bought yourself some shoes that are appropriate for what you're doing?
Yeah.
And this is true. So I always believe that, and I think I don't know if it's because having grown up in South Africa, the terrain is quite hard on your feet if you're not wearing the right shoes. But this is something that I've always valued, is that you want to have quality shoes and appropriate shoes for whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you're if you know you're going to be going for walks on a regular basis, get some good shoes for yourself that are going to be comfortable. Because otherwise your back starts hurting, your hips start hurting, your knees start hurting, and then it becomes unbearable, and then you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. I can attest to that because, as you know, I'm a referee and I do 6-a-side on Monday and Wednesday evenings. And on Monday evening, it's an artificial pitch, but it's quite smooth. And because it was cold, there was a bit of frost on it, and people kept slipping over. So I had to keep reminding everyone that it's always best to wear studs, like molded studs. And but they still turn up in plimsolls and these flat trainers, and they're going to do themselves some serious damage.
Yeah.
Because you're flying all over the pitch at quite reasonable fast speeds and that. And so again, you've got to think about these things. And when you're talking about walking, you got to think about what days you're going to walk and what times you're going to walk, because you've got other things going on in your life. So we want it all to be smooth and as much as possible.
Yeah, as much as possible. And there's going to be blocks, challenges and roadblocks here and there. That's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
If you don't plan for it, it's never going to happen in the first place. It may happen once or twice, but if you don't actually plan for it, put it in somewhere that that you're going to do this at least on a frequent basis at this time on these days.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to become hell or high water, right? No, but you can always shift your itinerary around here and there a little bit from time to time if you need to, but you've got to make a plan for it, pure and simple.
Absolutely. And the other things you want to think about is have a little plan B. Just think, if it's absolutely teeming down with rain, you're not going to want to go out for a walk. So have an alternative already, maybe a little bit of stair climbing. I don't know.
You live in a building, yeah.
It could be a million things that you can do. But just think about it. And if you have a problem actually committing yourself first thing in the morning, if that's when you're going to do it, then get all your running gear out the night before and stick it by the bed. So all you do is get up and put it straight on. It's like, because if it's still stuck in your bag, it's very easy just to pull the covers over yourself and just go back to sleep. It's like, so start small, enjoy, and then you can up your game if you really want to. I know a lot of people will. So I've got to get back into some serious training because I haven't trained for ages. But I've got a game when I finish on this. I've got a referee a game. And then I've got another one tonight. So,
look, we're talking about walking and that. And yeah, walking is one of the simplest, easiest things to start getting yourself moving. But sometimes people need more of a different environment in order to get themselves going, in order to feel motivated to go and start exercising or moving. And sometimes it's necessary for people to join gyms or a health club of some kind.
Yeah.
I think most people that are going to be watching this video or listening to the audio, and that they're not going to be necessarily wanting to go to some kind of hardcore gym, but if you can join a health club of some kind, in the UK in particular, there's loads of them around in different communities. Then join a health club if it means that, because then it gives you that sense of, you may be looking for that sense of community, that sense of, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to start meeting people, getting to know faces. It's going to be friendly, that kind of stuff, especially bearing in mind today, so many of us are lonely. We're not getting to see as many people as we are used to, or we might want to. So then go join a health club, but you don't have to you don't have to spend bucket loads of cash to do it either. Maybe if you can, I don't know if they still do it in the UK in some of these community health centers where you can pay when you go. You don't have to buy a membership.
Yeah, there are some places like that. Yeah.
And if you can, then just go just pay when you go, and at least get into that environment, get into that swing of things where you're now going and there's a multitude of options available for you to do different things. That might be exactly what you need and what you're looking for. But you won't know until you try it either. You may think to yourself, oh, the gym. No, it doesn't have to be like that. It can just be nice, easy going. You do your own little thing. You talk, chit-chat to a couple of people here and there, build some relationships, get some kind of connection going with people. And then you're going to feel better about yourself automatically that's besides even doing the exercising. I think that's what many of us just need. We need that sense of community, togetherness again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're gonna do a short one today because we're just getting back into it at the moment, and we're gonna.
I'm tired already. Whew.
No, I'm just raring to go. But
I'm also raring to go. You can see I'm bouncing.
So 7 steps to shape your personal plan. It sounds a bit business-like, but it's not. Number 1, select a simple goal. Choose a goal that best fits you and what you want to do. Makes you happy, have some fun, and you can add the fitness to it. Second thing is ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? It'd be a simple thing. I just want to get fitter, feel a bit better, maybe lose a couple of pounds or whatever. Third thing, pick your choice for change. It has to be your choice. Do you want to eat healthier? Stick to an exercise diet more effectively, ease stress, whatever it is, make it your choice, not someone else's. Commit yourself at some stage, whether you might want to write it down on a post-it note and stick it on the fridge, or maybe just an internal promise to yourself. Let people know what you're doing so they can encourage you rather than have a laugh as you're running down trying to move any excess weight that you may have. Done that before.
Or you're looking like an invalid trying to run, But I applaud people that do that, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a guy that he runs in the mornings when I take Laura to school, and he's running up hills and stuff like that, and he's huge and he can barely move. His moving is very labored, but I respect him because he's doing it. He's out there. He's actually, I know a lot of people will laugh. But that's irrelevant. Those people don't matter. Really, they don't matter. If somebody's taking your dream or that wish away from you, but trying to take it away from you by making you feel or look insignificant or ridiculous, they don't matter. Because at the end of the day, that's your objective. That's your goal. That's your dream.
Absolutely.
That's all that matters. The people that support you, they matter too.
Absolutely. But just sort of finishing off, scout out some easy obstacles, right? So that it's not so easy that anybody can do it. Just a little bit. Maybe there might be a little bit of an incline in part of the walk. and you can increase it as you get fitter. All right. Again, brainstorm ways to leap over obstacles. So if there are some roadblocks or obstacles on route, then, think about how you're going to deal with them. Right? It don't have to be really problematic or anything like that. Just some easy things that can make you a little bit more fitter. All right.
But also in saying that, some of those obstacles may be the news at 6 o'clock at night. It could be something that you're used to doing right now that is habitual, that is not serving you. That can be an obstacle, and that's more likely to be a bigger obstacle than anything else. So, as you say, as Paul says, brainstorm that, or have that in mind. Be conscious of the fact that these may crop up from time to time, but you need to be willing to deal with it. Are you willing to go that extra mile in order to push yourself a little bit harder? And as these obstacles come about, you need to be cognizant of that might happen, so that you're not thrown off guard when it does happen, that you're actually half prepared or fully prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, plan a simple reward. Is there a reward you might enjoy for doing a job well done?
Yeah.
And find out what it is. It could be you might have decided to quit smoking and might be saving the money. Maybe it could be, I don't know, going to see your local football team or something like that you hadn't done for years. It could be, for some of the ladies, things like having a luxurious bath that they hadn't had for a long time. Mm-hmm. Because it's very easy to slip out of doing things that we love. So whatever it is, simple reward. So that's it, really. We want to ease into this new year. We don't want to, we're not into marathon running at the moment. So
short sprints.
Short sprints about my limit at the moment. But so with that, enjoy. Just do something that works for you, that you enjoy and it's fun and makes you happy. So that's my last word. So
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Enjoy. And with that, we're gonna ramp it up next week. not the exercise, but we're ramping up about obviously other things that we're going to talk about. So have a great week, everyone, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you found it useful, pass it on to someone else, because it could ease them into the new year. Which is always good. I never do New Year's resolutions. I either do something before the New Year starts or halfway through January. Specifically because I want to keep it going rather than be one of them 3 or 4 day wonders.
And also, in just to add to what Paul was saying, sharing this video with somebody, or this message with somebody. If you're thinking of somebody or a group of people that you would like to start doing something with, whether maybe you want to go for a walk with a group of people, maybe you want to go for a forest trail walking with a group of people on a regular basis, share this with them so they can see the message from somebody else's perspective, not your perspective.
Absolutely.
And that might encourage and motivate them to get going and do something with you, whatever it is, even if it's cycling. Better than nothing.
All right. Well, great. I think we're done. Anything else you want to say at all, Warren?
I think it's all done.
Okay.
Have fun, everyone.
I'm going to scamper off now and referee a football game. So we'll see everyone next week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. UK time and 12 midday Hungarian time, or CET as it's called.
Yeah, Central European.
Yeah. So with that, have a fantastic week, everyone. Any questions, let us know.
Please do.
Speak to you soon.
Bye now.
See you later.